Let's do this!
Plankton! Yep, that about sums up how I feel. So during EVO 2023, specifically Friday's main stage industry showcase, Nick All-Star Brawl 2 received a special highlight, showcasing all the improvements and additions to the long-anticipated sequel, as well as revealing Plankton as a brand new fighter, and he looks like he's going to be an easy main for me. So as usual, I'm going to break down the showcase video and the Plankton trailer, then we're going to discuss the recent official leak which Plankton was a part of, and I still have honestly no clue how something that big slipped by. Now, I'm going to be clear, I'm not going to break down all the mechanics in the video, cause I feel like Hungrybox, a pretty well-known member of the fighting game community, did a pretty good job explaining everything as is. But I will highlight some of the important bits before getting into the references, Easter eggs, and all that good stuff. Starting with the slime meter, as I'm sure everyone has been pretty curious about how it functions, more than anything else to be fair. So, as I theorized in my previous video, SpongeBob's bubble was made more powerful thanks to this meter, and it turns out to be the case. Every single move in the game can be enhanced with the slime meter for extra damage, canceling out attacks, gaining extra height to get back to safety, air dashing, and even breaking an opponent's combo by slime bursting. Each of these moves can either use 1 or 2 slime meter bars, which can be built up by performing attacks, combos, etc. But if you fill up the bar completely, which I also suspected, are when the super moves can be triggered. SpongeBob's super move is getting into a boat with Mrs. Puff and recklessly plowing through the competition. Gotta say though, I wasn't expecting Mrs. Puff to show up, like, at all, but they did a pretty good job on her model. Now, if she appears as DLC, I feel that would be so dang hilarious. The only complaint here is the super animation shows SpongeBob effectively killing Squidward instead of hitting Patrick, which I feel is a bit of an odd choice, but we're still a couple months away from launch, so it's possible that can still be adjusted. In addition to the light aerial up, down, neutral, and forward attacks, there are now backward attacks, but I think this only applies to a character's air moveset. Charging an attack is far more apparent this time around and can be done in both the air and on the ground. And some of you are going to be celebrating for this one as blocking has been majorly fixed. Instead of being in a perma-block state in the first game, blocking is now a limited time, limited damage thing, and you'll be stunned if you use it too long. This is also how parries are done, and wait, were there parries in the first game? I don't know. Anyways, parries prevent any sort of damage or stuns, and immediately allowing for a follow-up attack. Also, the environment is a bit more reactive, as parts of a Dutchman's ship have a bit of bounce to them. Nice touch. Those are the things I wanted to point out from the mechanics trailer, which I'll link down in the description below if you want to check it out in its entirety. It's also said that there will be character spotlight videos, much like what was done with the first game, coming soon. But now, let's get to those sweet Easter eggs, and then we'll get to the Plankton reveal trailer. The Dutchman's ship has a few items laying around that directly references the Shanghai episode. The mop and bucket, the owner's sign above the door, the spyglass.
Captain, there's a guy we can scare.
Just a reminder, every character has brand new movesets, so expect some of the moves from the first game to be swapped out with new ones, such as SpongeBob's anchor arms from the Muscle Bob Buff Pants episode, the Goofy Goober rock glasses from the movie. Come on, it was right there. That could have been SpongeBob's super, but I'd imagine they wouldn't want to have to go through the hassle of having copyrighted music in the game, given a bunch of people are definitely going to stream the game, so I can see that being a possibility. That kinda sucks, but oh well. One of SpongeBob's idle animations is a recreation of him playing the tune at the end of the show's theme song, which is pretty cool, especially since the tune itself is included. So now I don't understand why this did not happen in BFBB, Rehydrated, or Cosmic Shake, despite the idle animation being present. You guys were so close with that. We don't really see much for Patrick when it comes to his moveset, and like I said, we'll be getting character showcase videos in the future, so just gotta be patient. And I know I pointed this out in my last video, but whoever decided to make the Flying Dutchman transparent instead of having a solid appearance, thank you so much. This has been a pet peeve of mine since his appearance in Rehydrated, so credit where credit's due, you just saved the game. Speaking of models though, and looking at SpongeBob's new model up close, again, still a major upgrade that shifts between 2D and 3D aspects, depending on the angle, but there's a complaint that I do share with a few others, and it's SpongeBob's mouth being 2D at angles that feel like it should have been shifted to a 3D angle, if that makes sense, but it looks a bit jarring as a result, so if that can be adjusted, I think we'll be good. Moving on to Plankton's trailer, and I just gotta say, you have no idea how happy I was to see Plankton get announced. He's easily one of my top 3 characters in the show, but his history of playable appearances is relatively short. Creature from the Krusty Krab, Nicktoons' Globs of Doom, and SpongeBob's Truth or Square are what immediately comes to mind, so this makes it all the more sweet. No, Rehydrated's multiplayer doesn't count, that's RoboPlankton, it's not the same thing, how dare you remind me of that Snorefest. Also, his VA just continues to sell just how much of a fit he is for the character, as he always sounds like he's having too much fun in any of the games or whatever Plankton's in.
Karen, make ready! Hello, suckers!
Plankton's using the robot from the second SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, easily one of the best parts of the movie, and I'm kinda surprised that we're just now starting to see game representation for that film, cause it's mostly just been the show, the first film, and the other SpongeBob games up till this point. Now obviously this robot has a few modifications from the film, including the ketchup and mustard bottles attached to both the arms, with Karen being integrated into the system for additional attacks. Which makes sense cause these two work pretty well together, even if the exchanges can be a bit snarky.
Yeah, and if anyone ever did order one of your meals, it probably would look them in the eye.
So yeah, Karen's another fan favorite, and hopefully she gets a few voice lines in here as well. A much better fate than the first game's muted Grr. But aside from that, I honestly couldn't find any other references to point out. Even some of Plankton's voice lines are kind of vague callbacks to Computer Overload and Fry Cook games, but this one,
Don't call me Sheldon!
is definitely a reference to Plankton's army. Man, that is such a good episode.
The secret formula for... But aha! Okay, that's enough!
As for Plankton's model, I really can't comment on it because he's so tiny. Which, okay, makes total sense, I get the joke. So yeah, really looking forward to Plankton. But now, it's time to take a look at the official leak that Plankton was a part of. Fair warning, we're now entering into major spoiler territory for the entire base roster, so if you wish to remain spoiler-free until the proper character reveals, head to the timestamp on screen. This is your final warning. Still here? Good. Let's get to it. So apparently, Amazon UK put up a listing for the game when they weren't supposed to, and inadvertently leaked the entire base roster, but Amazon realized they'd done goofed up the listing by posting the full, currently unreleased version of the game's box art, and then proceeded to scrub the entire listing from their site. This happened right as soon as I dropped my last video, so it was gone before I even caught wind of it. But thankfully, screenshots were taken of the leak before it was taken down. As you can see, Plankton does appear on the box art, so if anyone was questioning the legitimacy of this image before Plankton's reveal, well, there you go. There's 26 playable characters, 27 if we count Vlad. Not sure if he's playable, but I kinda hope he is, upon finishing the story mode anyways, because that would be a pretty cool reward, given he's one of the best Danny Phantom characters. So starting from the top and going clockwise, here's what's believed to be the full base roster. Vlad Plasmius, SpongeBob, Plankton, Squidward, Jimmy Neutron, Cora, Lucy Loud, the Angry Beavers, which were highly requested for the first game, Grandma Gertie from Hey Arnold, Raphael from TMNT, Invader Zim, Patrick, Azula from The Last Airbender, April, Rocco, Jenny, Aang, Donatello, Ren and Stimpy, Ember, another Danny Phantom character whose appearance I'm kinda surprised by, but also not, given I've seen quite a few people wanting her in the first game. And I can see why, but me personally, I'm more of a Skulker fan, given that introduction episode was just so good. But Ember's definitely up there with some of the best villains in the series, hands down. Moving on, we've got Danny Phantom himself, El Tigre, yes, there he is. And for those who don't know, there's a pretty long story regarding this character even getting into the game before this leak even popped up, but I'm not going to get into that here, so let's just appreciate the confirmation. And finally, Garfield, Reptar, Nigel Thornberry, and Geralt, another character from Hey Arnold, which I still find strange as to why Arnold himself, the main character of the show, is not appearing, unless he's going to be Season Pass DLC, but otherwise, yeah, I can see why people are confused. So with that said, you've probably noticed that certain characters from the first game are nowhere to be seen in the trailers or this particular box art. Now, it's probably too early to say that they've been outright cut from the sequel's base roster, as they could still be in the game at launch, but if that's not the case, then there's going to be 10 characters that will not be in the base roster. Sandy, Helga, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Shredder, CatDog, Toph, Powdered Toast Man, which I can live without seeing again, Oblina and Hugh Neutron, both of which I would be incredibly upset about cause I really enjoyed both characters, and I'm sure there's people who wanted to see Jimmy and Hugh duke it out for the Shadow Realm memes, of course. Maybe that's why Hugh isn't here? Who knows, but he better not be a paid DLC again, cause why? I already paid for him once. I mean, I was going to get the season pass anyways, so it doesn't matter to me. So maybe a couple of them will return for either the season pass or sometime further down the road in another season pass, if they're not in the game at launch. But regardless, this was a pretty big leak. Did it ruin some of the surprise these reveals would have had individually? Yes, but thankfully it doesn't change the surprise of how they look, play, and sound in-game. So not 100% spoilery. Now, when the devs were asked about certain characters and not returning, in the Polygon interview I dived deep into last time, the answer was pretty vague, all things considered. Now before I go, I do have two things I wanted to bring up because I completely overlooked them due to the Nick Brawl 2 hype. So the first is, according to Nintendo Life, pre-ordering the game gives you a bonus elastic waistband costume for Patrick, and the Season Pass exclusive costume for SpongeBob is the Quickster, both from the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5 episode. Combined with Squidward's Captain Magma hat, they would be foolish to not include Sandy with the Miss Appear costume, thus having the complete set. And the second thing I wanted to bring up is there's a new THQ Nordic showcase happening later this week on August 11th. And knowing how these tend to showcase upcoming games, with the Cosmic Shake being revealed during the 2021 event and then returning for the 2022 event, it's possible we'll be seeing another Nickelodeon game reveal. What it is, if any, we don't know. Could be more SpongeBob, could be something else, but we don't have to wait much longer to find out. So be sure to subscribe and hit that bell in case something SpongeBob or Nickelodeon does pop up. But what do you think it'll be, and will you be maining Plankton in Nick Brawl 2? Be sure to leave everything down in the comments section below. Once again, I've been Blue Knight. Thank you guys so much for watching and for the constant support. I really do appreciate it, and until next time, keep on brawling.